Welcome. And, you guys say it.
Welcome.
Look into that camera and say it.
Welcome.
I don't know where to look.
There's so many angles.
There's so many cameras. If you've ever watched the news, if you've ever watched Your Mom's House podcast, if you've ever watched Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah, Rogan.
They found out you can use more than one camera. And this year, I said, guys, I figured it out. You just have to have more money.
Yeah. Once you
sense.
have money, it just unlocks everything in life that you've been missing.
I have found the more money I have, the better things are. Have you ever been in a position where you had a lot of money, you're like, this is just, I'm just in a problem right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Really?
I can't spend it fast.
Oh, okay, yeah. Did you have a real story of like?
I mean, I life's great, you know? I don't want to sit here and
Look, life's great. I was thinking about this earlier today. I had something I had to do, and I was like, I could do this, or I could hire somebody to do it. And I was like,
yo, same.
man, that is like a different
Yes.
level of adulthood.
Yep.
And it's like,
I look at this and I'm like, I ain't doing this.
I've had periods where, especially with this house, where it's like, I was just throwing money at the problems. But like now, I'm in the opposite position where it's like, I have to go on YouTube and watch Jellybean69, some 16-year-old kid go, here's how to change out your filters. Here's how to actually fix the leak in your basement.
This
It
thing's
is
Hit
mad.
that
when it's a
epic like
kid.
button.
it is
Yeah.
tough when it's a kid. I have ran into that when I was trying to do install some.
Yeah.
That's
thing on my
usually for
computer.
internet stuff. It's always a 14-year-old like,
Yeah.
what's up, guys?
Hey, I'll take advantage of anyone's knowledge. I'm not above anything.
Yeah.
But I'll
But
admit where I'm stupid.
if you're watching, you're probably rich, just like us, to be able to have the multicam system a go.
Which
This
is
is
awesome.
2024. It's a brand new year. AI is taking over, but we are going to be the last ones here.
7 years it took us to
We
get.
could have just let AI, make this podcast.
I feel like we can't.
We
go a
did
month
actually at
without
one
talking about
point.
AI.
we let AI
We let AI run it. I remember that.
run the summary.
You know what we did a few months ago is we had a conversation about something, and I want to bring it up.
Okay, what is that?
PlayStation Portal is hard to get right now. Did you guys know that?
That was a big shock.
See,
Because I even put on Twitter, I was like, I'll get this thing next year when it's $100, and you can't get them anywhere.
you cannot get
and people
this
want
thing
them.
anywhere.
People really want them. So
Wait, what do you mean? Like
It's just hard to. The stock's not there. It's selling out really quickly.
People
selling out?
Yes.
Selling out
People
extremely
really want
quickly.
these things.
Amazon can't keep the stock up. You have to get notifications on to get it on Amazon. Best Buy is on like a 3-week waiting list.
There's no games for it.
It links with your
connects your
PlayStation.
PS5.
It's people that love the Switch.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the VR.
No, the
Yo,
PlayStation
I was
Portal.
so confused.
No, the
I
PlayStation
thought you were
Portal.
talking about the PSVR 2.
No, the PlayStation Portal is just not staying on store shelves.
Okay.
And if I remember, we had a conversation about this thing, and we were like kind of poo-pooing on it. And I'm sitting here like, I'm looking at getting a Portal. I'm about to try
You
to
saw
get
how
one of
many
these.
people wanted it. It was like, well, I guess I want it too.
I was skeptical because of the remote playability. I do remote play on my office sometimes when I'm like testing certain things for our Madden franchise. I was like, I don't want to go to my TV. I'm just going to do it on here. And so I get on there and I'll do it. And I'm like, it doesn't like always work the greatest. I was like, so what's different about the Portal? Everyone's saying this thing's great. It really does not struggle. It does not do anything wrong. I got guys playing Spider-Man in hotel Wi-Fi's, not even complaining. Like,
It
it's
sounds
working
good.
great.
Wow.
I don't know if it's just because of the PlayStation infrastructure that if it's just communicating differently, but I was just like, I just want to admit every now and then we're wrong.
Yeah, well, I didn't think this thing sounded appealing, but I did try to do the Portal equivalent on my Steam Deck and play Mass Effect 2.
Yep.
And it was kind of janky. It
Yeah.
wasn't working properly. So I am interested then if they've got something proprietary in there.
It has my attention just because like there's times where I'm like, we're watching a TV show and I don't really care about it, like Grey's Anatomy, and we're watching and I was like, I could at least be trying a new playbook out or something right now. Like I can be present but not be present kind of mentality. But I can't do
I
that
can be
unless
half
I'm in front of
present.
it, you know? So
That should be like the
Huh.
marketing. It's like half present with your wife.
yeah, it definitely works like that.
You could pretty much make that the pitch
Present-
for most things these days.
Present enough.
To put a bow on it, I just want to get a new heat check. Are you even more interested now or no?
Well, my thing, even when we first talked about it, maybe I'm saving face here, but no, I remember what I said was like if you didn't have a tablet and you wanted that Portal, because I loved playing the Switch like out back here in our Three Seasons room, like just kicking back. And to have that with PlayStation games, I was like, that is appealing.
Yeah.
Now, for $200, I was like, no, but apparently that was the right price because it's selling out. So I am wrong about that. I was like, I'm 100's what I want to pay. But
Travis?
I don't know anything anymore. I don't.
You're
I
starting the year
truly
off
know
right,
nothing.
like a boomer.
You want to know what the best example of I know nothing?
Yeah.
Palworld is the biggest game
Yeah.
on planet
I think
Earth.
it's grown. Is it the second biggest concurrent game right now on Steam? Or
It
is
had
the
a
first?
million concurrent at one time playing at the
Yes.
same time, which is
I don't know if
crazy.
it took
Like,
over. I think it was Counter-Strike or PUBG. I can't
It
remember.
took over
which ones.
Fortnite for 1 second.
Yeah.
like,
No, it's a big deal, and
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm interested. Like
if
I
it
am.
was free, I would have already installed it and screwed around because we've talked about this. I've said forever, I need a Breath of the Wild of Pokemon.
Oh my
The
god.
weird thing about this is it's literally Breath of the Wild and Fortnite and Pokemon
Yes.
and everything in a way that doesn't even make sense in a lot of ways.
It's everything kind of thrown into one.
yeah.
And I watched gameplay, or Donkey made a video.
Donkey. Yep.
And that actually turned me away from it
Oh my
because
gosh.
I still think the stuff that they're doing is funny and interesting, whatever. I'm not trying to crap on the game, but I am trying to say there's one element we might need to move away from soon, at least for older people like us, and it's the crafting.
Crafting. I knew what you were going to say. I
In the
knew you were
Donkey
going to say.
video, it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting wood. Okay, I need more rock. And even when I was playing Lego, I was like, this is fun, like relaxing, but like with Palworld, there's more action stuff.
Yeah.
Than there is the Lego, and I was like, I think I'm done with that. Like, let me hit a tree twice and get it.
Here's
then I'm
what's-
fine. But you're like mining it, and it's like, this actually isn't really fun.
When
Yeah.
the PvP gets fleshed out in this game, it's going to be bonkers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mixed world of Fortnite, Rust, Pokemon, and GTA all in one game, and it's
Yeah.
going to get crazy.
I was laughing how you put the Pokemon to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nintendo would love this conversation. You put the Pokemon to work in this game.
Did I read
You
right?
put the pals.
turn the Pokemon into guns. Is that a
You
thing?
can use
yes,
them.
that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, use them as guns.
Yes.
You can use them
You
as
can
guns.
you can
Correct.
put them to work.
I read it as like you turn a horse into glue. Like you turn the Pokemon into guns.
Sorta
It's a
kinda like that.
very because you can use the Pokemon as like collectibles. You can use them as like I said Pokemon. The Palamons.
The pals.
You can use them as a forced labor. You can use them as weaponry. You can use
Yeah, you
them
can
for
put them to
anything.
work. See,
Man.
now if I have enough that are they're going out and get the wood for me, then that changes.
I'll call it a
things.
Pokemon ripoff when there's shiny pals. When they release shiny
Now
pals.
Nintendo did because people were like, "What is Nintendo going to do?" This is too like the models are like just a 1 degree off of some of those actual Pokemon, and they didn't respond until they modded it and added actual Pokemon, and within like a day,
Yeah,
they took that mod.
that
off.
won't last. They're gonna make another
Well,
mod.
And then
they
they
were selling the mod.
That's
which
why.
Is like you're done.
Yeah.
If somebody takes this and mods it like
Yeah.
to be like an open world Pokemon
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
then I'm in. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll buy
Well, that's
kind of
what that was a little
but
bit.
I didn't know they were
Man.
selling it. If they're selling it, then
They were
of course
selling
they're
it.
begging for
Yeah.
it to get taken off.
But
I'm
I think
playing
they are doing something else. Where they're like, "Hey, we're looking into this stuff."
I
Like,
will be playing this probably within the next month or so. I have to.
I don't like that it's $30 in
No.
early access.
Here's what's gonna happen. We did this with Fortnite, guys. We
Was
didn't get on
Fortnite
the
ever
train.
early access.
No, Fortnite was early access and it was free to play. But when Fortnite was popping, we all said, "Nah, we're not interested."
Okay.
And then we got on it, and we thought.
So we
differently.
need to jump on the hype train.
Hey, I got a prediction, and I know we don't. We're not talking politics. We don't talk politics. This year is not ending with this election cycle that we're going to be in without Joe Biden talking about Palworld. It's not.
The pals. Well,
That would be
go
a good-
if
to
you.
the pals.
Yeah, I was about to
Just-
say.
It's an
Go
easy
to the
minus
Pokemon
150.
go to the
Hillary
polls.
had the classic.
Yeah.
We always
Yes.
quote it.
Yes.
Pokemon. How about Pokemon? Go to the polls. So yeah, there's gonna be like, why don't
Yeah.
you be my pal
Yeah.
and vote for me?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's going to be the year of Palworld.
They're gonna have a. Never mind. I'm not even going. It will be funny for sure. Without a doubt.
Is this already going to end up being the game of the year for a lot of people, or is this just a fun? It is January,
I
and the
think
world
it-
is a hellscape, and like we just. Need to
I
have some
think
fun.
that if this would have came out on any other Pokemon cycle, it would have been like, I think it still would have been hyped. But Sword and Shield, is that no?
Yeah.
Violet,
Violet
and
and
Scarlet.
are kind of crap.
They
on a
were
little bit.
so crappy, and it was like $1 billion company, and they put out the biggest turd, and then these people kind of scrapped together. It's a janky at times itself, to be fair.
But it's early access.
But it's early access, and it is loads better looking, and it's loads
Dude,
better
I
fun.
love how early access is just an excuse to put out a bad game and get money to
Yeah.
continue developing it.
So I think that has made it even bigger because they're like, people are like, oh, this is extremely better than the current Pokemon game. even at early access with its problems. Like,
How long until Palworld gets bought out by Microsoft?
Well,
know.
they should have some funds available. so Microsoft is so yesterday 2 bits of news came out.
Yes.
They closed business at
Mhm.
$3 trillion, the highest they've ever been valued, the highest value company on planet Earth.
seems to be a trend.
And
with these companies,
They
lately.
laid off 1,900 employees. And I heard something today. We are at 5,000 game developer studio layoffs on the year.
Wow.
Because 3D Realms had people
Yeah.
laid off to start the year, and Embracer or something.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot of
They're
layoffs.
trimming the fat.
I mean, this sounds like they're just trimming.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys. I mean, there's all industries are laying off right now. I think that's the one thing that I'm a little bit like, I see a lot of games coverage. Like, why are they laying off so many developers?
Yeah.
I think it's a good question. There's a lot of people getting
They
laid
had-
off, period.
They
Yeah.
had you have to remember when 2020 hit, like the game industry shot up a gajillion dollars in a
Yeah.
day because everybody was at home.
Yeah, it needs something to do.
So
they were printing money.
And-
so
Animal
not only
Crossing became
that,
giant.
so the demand was extreme, and then with the low interest, I know we're getting the financial stuff, but these companies got all these loans, these PPP loans, they could borrow all this money to hire, so they were hiring like insane.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember Facebook distinctly. They had like, a gajillion people one day. Like it was just
Yeah.
a lot, and just like, whoa, that's crazy the amount of people that they're trying just to. So it's just they were bringing all these swarms and all this demand at the time, and Zoom and all that stuff was
Yep,
hiring on.
yep.
It's like, well, post COVID, different environment.
Yeah.
Like high interest, can't borrow as much, and it's like gaming has not been. I actually looked at somebody. It was a huge article. I read a lot of it, but it was too much. And they kind of talked about where the game industry is right now, and they were talking about that. They were talking about COVID and all this stuff, but they were saying like the growth from like if you take inflation and from 2019 on, like we only grew the industry only grew like 2%.
Yeah.
Within like 2022 to 2023 or 2021.
I think there's just a-
so it actually wasn't as big of a jump, financial wise, because all that stuff changed with COVID. People went back
Yeah,
to work,
I think it's
all that
more of a
stuff.
balancing act right now. Like, what's happening is these companies are trying to find out how to balance their profits versus their labor, and that's why like they come into Microsoft this past year and they're like, okay, what did we do? What was our revenue? X, Y, and Z, and then they're like, okay, now we're cutting 2% of our labor,
Yeah.
and that's when it's like, man, that really sucks. Like, it really, really sucks because you don't want to hear people losing jobs, but that's what these big companies look at. They look at the
It's
revenue.
just people now with with the current economic stuff. Microsoft, Sony, all of them are licking their chops because they're like, we can actually get a deal on some of these, or it's time to
Well, that's
like
what I
buy
think.
up. But then they're buying them up and they're laying them
Here's
off.
what's
So
happening.
Them and laying them
They're laying off.
yeah.
So
That's what they're doing. They're buying assets. So what they're doing is they made these layoffs,
yeah,
and I promise you, in the next 3 to 4 months, they're going to acquire something
yeah.
because they have revenue goals. That's all they care about is their revenue goals.
But I think what was crazy was the last podcast when we were talking about the Insomniac leaks,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh my gosh, they're making like $1 gajillion and it's still not enough.
Well, and we talked about
like-
how the budget of Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
was like 3 times
Yeah.
the budget of Spider-Man 1, and it was
Yeah.
like, this is
What did they do? Did they decorate every like interior in the buildings you can see? Like, where'd the money go?
Yeah, that's just poor management,
Well,
though. We talked about that, obviously.
well, and I do think that the bottom line is on some fundamental level, the way in which they're trying to scale up the teams and the
Yeah.
complexity of these games is not. I feel like this has been said many. It is truly not sustainable. Like,
And that's what the article's
yeah.
main point out of 30 pages was like, this will not end. It was like, it's going to get worse in 2024 and then
Yeah.
it'll get better. But
you're gonna see a change in how they hire and fire.
Well, I just think more broadly, you're probably right. You're gonna at some point, some of these companies are gonna get out of this race.
yeah.
And I think that what we consider to be like the traditional video games market
Yeah.
is just going to look different.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more low and mid-budget things
Yeah.
with the occasional AAA. I don't see how by the end of this there is a AAA the way we've known it. I think we're going to be exiting a golden age.
I think we kind of got with the leaks again, kind of a peek into the future
Mhm.
because they have that next Spider-Man game as part 1 and part 2. They're splitting what probably would be if they would have made Spider-Man like last gen, we probably would have got Spider-Man 3 as one product. But I think they're gonna charge $70 for part 1 of Spider-Man 3
but-
and $70 for part 2.
My
I mean-
question for them is, what does that even mean? Why make a part 1 and a part 2? Just release one and call it whatever you're going to call it. Like, what? I don't understand what part 1 and part 2. Like, okay, here's what I'm saying. With movies, the movie has to be between an hour and a half and 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Right. You're pushing it if you go past 2.5 hours for a blockbuster. But
Yeah.
That's
it
fair.
happens. So that is the constraint upon which you say this has to be a part 1 and part 2. We can't fit it in. With games, your game can be as short or as long as you need it to be. So why call it part 1? Just release
I think that's
Spider-Man
just-
3.
I think
or-
because of financially, like
I
if you
don't
look at
understand.
God of War 1 to God of War 2, there was a lot of texture and model differences. I think you're paying $70 for part 1 and part 2, and they're going to be set in the same world. You're playing like the same game with way new story
well,
missions.
That's
way
the
new
difference.
stuff.
So when they made 2, that budget was probably so high because they're probably going to reuse a lot of the assets, a lot of the engines when they make part 1 and part 2. And guess what? Part 1 and part 2 are still going to make just as much money as the second game
It's gonna,
did.
yeah.
So for them, they're multiplying their profitability, but doing a lot of the front end work now to do it. That way, they don't have as much labor later on down the road. There's more story casting at that point, which can be really crappy and can be really good. I guess it just
But I
depends.
guess my question is, how many different versions of a Spider-Man world do we need anyway? I think that we didn't really need. I didn't play Spider-Man 2, but to be honest, if it's more sustainable, like maybe you just like use the original map from Spider-Man 1 and add Brooklyn instead of recreating the whole thing from scratch.
Oh yeah, I see what
Maybe
you're
it
saying.
wouldn't have cost 3 times the amount.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, I just can't fathom. In nothing else would it make sense to, from whole cloth, recreate.
And
the
it's not
game.
like they didn't do it because they did upscale the whole entire game for PS5, the first one.
Yeah, they had the first one
Yeah.
upscaled, and I guess the reason why is because there's that kind of gamer reaction culture of like, this is a reskin,
No.
this is lazy. But you know what? We live in a post Elden Ring world where Elden Ring had the same freaking animations as Dark Souls 2
Yeah.
for like every sword
Yeah.
swing. Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just
people don't care as much as people like on the internet want to bark about it.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like,
People
people on
like-
the internet don't have that big of a voice.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if cumulative, yeah, sure, I'll listen. But one person, 2 people, 10%,
Yeah.
buzz off. I don't care.
I don't know. I just know that definitely the live service game model is going to.
Well, did you see? I think it was today or yesterday. They also fired the people that were responsible for getting Microsoft physical games into stores.
Oh yeah. When you said that you can't find those in stores, I almost said you can't find Microsoft stuff in stores.
Can't find the
either.
people that were putting it in stores.
You also, yeah,
They're
there's-
working in the store now.
did you know Skate was going free to play? They said that's the projection.
makes sense.
That's the
Yeah, they-
that's
yeah,
where
they're
at.
saying
That
that's
is
the
wild.
projection.
No more physical Xbox. I saw somebody say something, and I agree with this. What you lose in marketing and just visually being out there by not being on store shelves is significant.
I think people spend more time digitally than they do out.
No. I'm not talking about spending. I'm talking when moms
Oh.
are out shopping, when
Yeah.
people are out shopping. You see Xbox, you see it. That's brand recognition.
Mm-hmm.
If you retreat fully into digital, but then Sony's still out there at all the stores, you're giving up a marketing footprint.
They'll put a piece of paper up there and put a digital code behind it. Buy that for your kid.
Maybe.
That's
Dude, I don't
probably-
know.
It's-
So they
it's-
would still have an Xbox section.
But
it
it's
would be
all a bunch of little cardboards with
Okay.
digital codes.
And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then I guess that would make sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah, we're moving too fast in that direction because I mean, look at streaming and Netflix and stuff. People don't like get physical movies. I mean, Best Buy
Netflix.
just removed all of their movies physical.
I actually
So like
forgot.
we're definitely headed in
Yeah.
that direction very very fast.
That
But
would
it
be-
was it was always a thing of like, oh, one day it was always talked about and like with us kids like one day they'll be digital and the games will be cheaper because the saving, but they're more expensive because
Yep.
I saw somebody recently I was like actually like they're more expensive because I had to pay like it was in a different I think it was like European countries for like Tekken or something. It was like this is digital deluxe thing is $100 something plus for the digital.
yeah.
So
it's
they got more expensive.
And it's more expensive because to make them, it's become so much more expensive.
I don't know if you guys saw. I wanted to add this. This is kind of a shocking news on my end. WWE fan, if you guys didn't know.
What is it?
WWE fan right here.
Oh
And what'd you think? WWW? What do you
no,
think
I'm
I
thinking
said?
about Vince McMahon. Got
Oh,
some
that
news.
too. That's shocking. But
Did you read those text messages?
terrible person,
No, I don't
Do you know what this is?
bro. Okay,
No.
okay. So hold on. Let me give you the whole spew then. All right, WWE. All right, was bought by Endeavor Group, which owns UFC. So Vince McMahon rejoined the company after retiring, sold the company to Endeavor Group for an insane amount of money. So now they're under the same umbrella. UFC and WWE are. Well, one of the things that WWE always does is license out their TV show rights. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown's owned by Fox. Monday Night Raw is owned by USA Network. WWE just sold Raw for $5 billion to Netflix for 10
I did see
years.
that. I did see the Netflix thing.
Netflix is going to stream Raw live for the next 10 years for $5 billion.
That's crazy.
Billion.
So it's $500 million a year.
Like,
Well, when you put it this way, if it's $500 million a year,
yeah.
okay, think about an NFL team. What's their salary cap? $283 million a year.
Okay.
So it's about double the cost to run an NFL franchise per
Mhm.
year for 10 years.
That's
To them, that's a drop in the bucket.
yeah.
To Netflix, that is truly a drop in the
Netflix,
bucket.
but see, for Netflix, they're like, we want a piece of that pie, and they just took one of the biggest pieces. That's a 3-hour show every Monday that
Yeah.
they get that they're going to run on their platform. But what came out
Netflix probably really loved signing the contract and going on Yahoo page.
what came out
front page
literally 2
news
days
and
later.
seeing Vince Mc- Now he hasn't been a part of it for a little bit.
No,
right?
well,
so
he-
he's in a
he's
dog
in
the
a
bounty
pickle.
hunter.
He's
sit-
in a
Well,
very bad
well,
situation.
He's
bad.
a dog the bounty
So,
hunter
Worse,
situation.
Vince-
Worse?
Yeah,
Vince
worse.
2 years ago.
Are his
no.
bounty hunting days over?
Yeah, no, a year and a half ago got sued for sexual harassment and sexual assault.
That's not good.
He resigned from this allegation. He's like, I'm going to resign. He turned WWE over. He rejoined the company as controlling operator because he has in his contract so he can make the sell. And he was going to pull back after the sell.
Okay.
2 days later, after the sell of the Monday Night Raw, it came out that Vince is getting sued again for sexual assault because there was a lady who was an ex-worker of WWE who he treated as a sex slave, pretty much.
It's crazy. So there's all the text messages in there, and it's like this guy. Well, how old is he? He's like 78.
78.
And he's talking like some weirdo 20-year-old.
Hey, and he's using like a single digit. Like, I expect you to be, like with the letter B, be there, like that.
He
But-
was like trading this girl around to the different WWE
Yeah, if he was trying
workers.
to, if he was trying to sign
He was
somebody,
trying to sign somebody or sell these workers. He
and
would
he said,
give this
he
girl
told this
to
girl,
them.
you have to go to this person's room.
So if that's the text message you see, what's in the text messages you don't see?
Well,
Dude,
there-
yeah, that's yeah. So Vince
Wow.
is like, once again, he's already been a terrible person. Like, it doesn't surprise me at all. But the unfortunate part was like, there's people involved. I was like, oh, I wouldn't expect that. Brock Lesnar was involved. That was one of the people he used to get him to sign.
They
was
never
her.
mentioned him by name, but they said, yeah, it's a wrestler that was also in the UFC.
it's
And
Brock
and people
Lesnar.
were like, that narrows it down to one person.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Uh,
That or Ronda Rousey. I mean.
Yeah, well, that would have been
Yeah.
crazy.
But, oh my gosh,
But-
I went through some of those, and I was like, this
Yeah, I
guy
just,
is nuts.
The crazy part about it, like Vince is so out of it, but he is just absolutely. The more and more as people get older, you just realize that doesn't shock me. The world of wrestling, as people get older, you find out stories of the things they did, like Ric Flair. And like, you find things that Ric Flair did, and you're like,
yeah.
he's a senile old coot now. Like, I can't be mad at him, but he's still a terrible person.
There is nothing surprising about
Yeah,
Vince McMahon being a dirtbag.
Exactly.
There's nothing. at
he
all
embraced that
surprising.
in real life and on a TV show.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, that was always like people always came out in documentary and
Yep.
all this stuff like he's an a-hole.
Yep.
But this like that I think someone can live with, like he's an a-hole. But this is like I just was like you destroyed definitely your legacy.
He's on
you have
human
tarnished-
trafficking charges now.
Yeah, you've
because of it.
tarnished your legacy to the point where that's the only thing you'll remember for. You're a loser. You're an effing loser.
Yeah,
dude. Like,
it's
biggest
crazy.
loser.
It's
Like,
crazy.
crazy.
But now it's even gonna be crazier to find out like what else he may have done or
Yeah.
who else has been involved.
Oh, it
Because
sounds like a lot of them.
right
'cause it
now
was always
it's-
like groups he talked
But
about.
right now
like
in
he was-
WWE, it's all about women wrestling
Yeah.
and like how pushing like women are main eventing pay per views right now.
Yeah.
And it's like it's kind of a big deal. And then like this comes out and you're like, oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
terrible. Like I don't know how else to say. Like I don't know how else to say it.
Bad optics, bad
So-
reality.
I just wanted to drop that news bucket. $5 billion though for Raw,
Yeah.
still sold. They're-
But I
they're-
know
No,
that ink
you know
wasn't
why?
dry on that contract.
You know why
They were like-
Netflix doesn't care? They just got a new documentary idea.
the very
And
the
then
very
Netflix
bad deal.
Bought them.
Yeah,
Yeah, the very bad deal.
Uh,
They're gonna interview Netflix CEO. We didn't know anything. It's gonna be
Yeah.
on front page of Netflix.
we never knew. Gosh, that's like Chris Benoit. Never mind.
They're now the one thing I did hear about them though is that their ad tier has been so successful that they're gonna raise the price of it
Mhm.
and they're going to make that their main tier.
Yeah.
Which I read as, does that mean there just will be ads? You don't have a choice?
That's what people are just saying now is like, well, if Amazon just did that the other day where it's like, oh, you have to pay an additional $3 to not have ads now, plus their Netflix ad stuff.
They're
It's
like addicts.
They
keep
are
knocking on your door. Hey man, can I just get another?
Just another
Can I get
$1.
another? And they will keep it. I need to this
Every
time.
year.
They're addicted.
They're adding a couple
they're
dollars.
addicted to money.
And
they're addicted to
and
money.
if it
It's
was,
crazy.
and here's the hard part, I would have been done with Netflix probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't.
If
have
it was up to me, but I had to fight my wife
Yeah.
and be
I
like,
told Jess it's over.
You know what I do?
I kept having to say,
Here's
like,
the secret. Tie it to your Square card. Get a Square card. Tie your Netflix to it. And whenever you really want to watch something, just put enough money to get that month and don't put any more money in it.
I've always said that. Like, if there's something that really comes out that we want to watch, let's sub for 1 month.
Yeah.
Like, but the problem is it just kept, it's
you
just every
you
month, but
have
it's like,
to learn to cancel those memberships, man.
So, we canceled this past year finally.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, I can just, because we already have Amazon Prime, we
Mhm.
have that. And then we have the Walmart grocery stuff, which has
Same.
Paramount.
Yep.
Paramount or whatever. And I was kind of hyped on that. I was like, I'll watch Amazon Prime. I watched Amazon Prime for freaking 1 week. I was like, oh, there's some interesting stuff I didn't know in here. 1 weekend, that's when the news thing came out. Yeah, you're going to pay $3 more to not have the ads. And I was like, that is so icky. I'm
But
done with
everyone's
Amazon
going to be
Prime.
doing it. And
Yeah,
that's
I'm
the
not
crappy
doing
part
that.
about it. Like,
I'm not paying $3 more.
we
we're not doing
we
that.
have officially, people have to understand, we have hit worse than cable now.
Yeah,
You
we're
guys ever
getting
seen
to-
the South Park episode where they walk into the cable company and there's
Yeah.
only one cable company and they complain to them? And they, whenever they
No.
complain, they open up their
Oh, I have
trap.
seen that.
Oh yeah, tell me how you hate me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, we have hit that with
Yeah.
the streaming services.
Yeah.
They do
I'm-
not care.
I'm flying on the open seas. I'm taking some whatever that means.
I'm still eating. I still eat popcorn time. You guys ever have popcorn time in your house?
I like popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah, we
And I
always
like
we
check
love
what's on the
popcorn in
clock
our
at
house.
time,
It's
yeah.
great. Yeah, awesome time without a doubt.
I'm getting something to rip my Blu-rays and my DVDs, and I'm going into full prepper mode. Like,
Yeah.
with this
I had
stuff.
like
This
6
is over.
families when Office went to Peacock. I had like 6 families buy the whole entire Blu-ray collection of The Office. And they said we're never getting Peacock.
Oh, I
Yeah.
actually hold on.
People were not doing this.
I had a
streaming stuff.
conversation with my wife about this, and I am astounded this hasn't come to existence yet because I was thinking this. I was like, I am so done with these streaming services. What if I wanted to do what I do with Steam and pick a platform and buy stuff and look and it be on sale? Like, is there anything like that? Is there a Steam equivalent? And I didn't see. People said, no, there's not really. You can buy stuff
iTunes.
on Amazon. You can buy stuff, but it's never on sale. It's not on sale the way Steam stuff is.
Sometimes, but very rarely.
But
yeah.
so some people said Voodoo. So I went on Voodoo and I laughed out loud. I laughed so hard. I don't remember what it was. The first thing, hey, sale. And it said Big Bang Theory. Full series. $130.
Yeah.
Normally it's $680 because they put the individual episode pricing.
Yeah.
And I said, F off.
yeah.
Like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, and I agree. It took me back to what Gabe Newell says, which is piracy is a service problem.
yeah.
People resort to that because there is not a good, reasonable way to get what you're looking for.
I used to pirate.
buy it.
I used to pirate all my music. And then when Apple Music came
Yeah.
out and then Spotify has gotten good, you
Yeah.
know, and all that stuff, now it's like that would be stupid for me not to jump on a family plan.
Yeah.
you
But
know,
if they-
and get my music, it's so much better.
Yeah, it is better. And if there was
Now let's do
Steam-
this for streaming.
If
Yeah.
there was a Steam of movies, I would get on there and shows and be like, "Oh, okay, I've been wanting to get this show. Hey, it's like $8 right now. I'll buy that season for that." And you have it all on a platform.
Mhm.
That should exist, but
Yeah.
it doesn't.
No.
And then these companies complain that nobody buys the movies. But it's like I looked; it was $35.
I got
to watch Paul Blart in 4K.
I got
$35.
YouTube. Have you ever bought anything on YouTube? YouTube's pricing has been pretty good on TV shows. I got Teen
For
Titans.
older stuff, probably.
Teen Titans series. I got the entire series of Teen Titans for like $20.
Okay.
And I
Well,
watched
maybe I'll
all
look
old
into
Teen Titans because I
YouTube.
wanted to watch the old Teen
I
You
have
Titans.
too. I do.
YouTube TV.
I do hear people.
Yeah,
say
it's
good
like
stuff about
I've done
TV.
YouTube. You can go on there and purchase. Now they don't have a ton of stuff, but they have stuff you can purchase and own, and it's tied to your YouTube account. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. It's the medium for pricing on TV shows is completely stupid, completely out of whack, and it's not worth my time. You know what service is really good? You all need to have Hulu. Hulu's
I
the
have
best
Hulu.
one out of all of them.
Hulu.
Hulu's
We're
the
watching
best
some on Hulu right
dude.
now.
I watch
It's got
Hulu.
a terrible UI, but other than that,
Yeah,
it's
honestly,
pretty
don't
good.
care. You want to why? Because it's $19 a month and it has a ton of shows and it has new stuff that comes out every week on cable. It puts on a new
Hulu.
show.
Check
Love
out Hulu.
Hulu's probably the best one out of all of them.
Well, despite all this TV talk, We are a games podcast.
We are a video games podcast. DweeBros podcast.
Like
Welcome.
That's like our main class. And then we
Yeah.
subclass movies
Yeah.
and TV shows.
Well, I wonder why subclassing is important, Travis. It's almost as if you've been playing something.
I wasn't even going there.
I was just, you know.
I have been playing Baldur's Gate 3, but
See, that was clever.
Yeah,
See,
that was
I'm
good.
good at these, guys.
That's
Let
good.
me have a couple.
I think the way I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 is once every month or two, I'm going to dump 35 hours into it, and then I'm going to go do other stuff. Because that's
fair.
what happened.
Yeah.
Over the holidays, I played 35 hours of that game in like 4 days and had a great
I
time.
finally decided I'm not going to play that
It's
game.
just
Oh
not
my-
for you.
It's just
for
not
you.
going to happen.
He's
What did
not
you
gonna-
say the other day? I don't like little people.
Yeah.
little people.
What?
So we were laughing.
What's that called? Like looking at his
Zach doesn't
people.
like when it's little people on the screen.
Oh. Tiny
people on
he
the
can't.
screen.
He can't relate.
You can zoom in.
He doesn't want. If
way
it's
it-
little people, but this is my little paladin. He can't.
The way it's like
Yeah.
looking down, those games I immediately have always blanked on, like Gauntlet in the arcades. Like it's fun kind of for a while in the arcades or
Yeah.
Diablo. Like,
wow.
but you're looking down and it's like.
There's a great YouTuber, Kyle Bossman, and he talks about this Venn diagram of little tiny people, narrative choice, good cinematics,
Yeah.
and good like graphics. And he was like, pick two. Like you only get two.
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate 3 is the one that is right in the middle, but little people on the screen are like a deal
that
breaker
and
for you.
that and really the
You don't
the
like
link
turn-based.
has turned me off. Like I quit Persona 5 80 hours in because someone told me, "Oh yeah, you're about halfway
Length-
through." And that the game is so long and it's so involved. I was like, I don't
length
know.
does not bug me one bit.
Length to me
You can play
is-
Witcher. You can play this.
Yeah, I agree. To me,
I just don't have enough interest, I guess, to give 80 hours.
I
if
think
it was
that's the
if it was a
problem.
20
Yeah.
hour, 25, I would push through and be like, "Oh, this is kind
Just
of a
watch
cool
it on
thing.
YouTube, I guess.
the other thing
Watch
is,
it on
I
YouTube.
just know
It's so personalized.
Yeah.
It's so-
I know how you are. You do not have the patience to sit down and learn a role playing system and learn all the
Yeah.
classes and learn all of the
Yeah.
cantrips. And I would use this one to trigger this thing on my barbarian. And
I
you just
really
don't have the patience for
love
that.
the ideal of it,
Yeah.
but
I'll just schedule another
actually
Dungeons and Dragons night.
doing it, I finally had to say, Zach, you're gonna hate this. Don't do this. Like, don't deal with it.
On the flip side of all of that, I will say I thought I was towards the end of Act 1, and I had done everything in the map. Except for like one thing. It
Yeah.
was like go to the mountain pass. I was like, okay, but I did have this thing I needed to go down in this temple. So I was like, let me go down in this temple, and it's a whole nother world map. It's like the Underdark
the
of
Underground,
Zelda. I get down there and I'm like,
You're
wait,
like,
is this
no.
what is this? It is a whole additional
Whole
map
world.
with its own quests and stories, and I'm still in
If
Act
that would have
1.
happened to me, yeah, I'm out.
And I love
would,
it.
I would have bounced.
And it's all different
It's
enemies.
so cool, dude.
So I'm
It's so cool.
I'm having fun with it. But I will say, when I was playing this game, it made me remember a game that I started and never finished. And it made me want to go back and play that. And that is what I've been playing.
Oh, I got you.
and
What'd it
I've
get
been
you?
playing XCOM Enemy Unknown.
XCOM.
XCOM, dude.
XCOM.
Have you played XCOM?
That's
Yeah,
real
I
tiny
played
people
XCOM.
stuff.
Play the first one or
No,
just the second
the second one.
one? Okay. So how much did you play of that?
I beat the second one.
Okay, I'm playing the first one. I was thinking of
Yeah.
you playing this game. I was like, Jacob would love this game. You're a commander, and you're going up against these. It's this X-Files
It's-
gone wrong
It's complete.
universe.
I'm be honest with you, it's kind of bonkers.
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
permadeath stuff with
well,
your
yeah.
your
So
characters,
basically,
right?
you are this like commander of XCOM, and it stands for extraterrestrial combat.
Mhm.
And you have a base, and you have engineers, and you have scientists.
All these different types of people that work
and
with
you have
you.
laboratories, and it's kind of. You ever seen that Fallout Shelter game where like you build
Yeah.
those little parts of your base? It's kind of like that, and you have soldiers that you hire, and you go and you're trying to basically you're investigating how do you stop these aliens, but you're going on these little turn-based missions.
Yes.
And it's a tactical combat mixed with like you have planes and you shoot down UFOs and stuff. So
Bunch of different styles, bunch of different missions. You take different people groups,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah, and it is permadeath. So if you've got a captain sniper that's been on like 40 missions,
Yeah.
70 kills,
He's a historic man.
he's on every mission. If he dies, that dude's dead.
You're having a funeral. Like,
Well, unless you reload the save, which I do.
hey,
when I'm not going to beat the mission for sure, I reload. So I've lost some soldiers, and then you can play it Iron Man where it saves over your save like Dark Souls style constantly.
you constantly get punished.
And the crazy thing about this game is it's kind of like there's a world map and you're trying to keep all the countries happy. I don't know how the second one is, but you're trying to keep all the countries happy. It's different
just-
than
yeah,
the second
but go
one.
on.
And so you got to launch satellites and do all this stuff. And people will leave, and so when they leave, you lose funding, and then you gotta. It's like layoffs. It's like Microsoft. It's like subscribers have left.
You want to
I feel like you get a monthly report, and I'm like, all right, come on, like and sub, like, come on, stay in the XCOM program, don't leave because
XCOM is a different breed. People love those games. They'll sit there and say XCOM is the greatest thing ever created, and I'm like, it's good. It's really. I don't like the permadeath stuff. I'm a sissy because I like I'll cheap save, whatever you want to call it. I want to keep my crap, but I could see why that's like a really cool. It makes it more personalized.
It makes it matter. It makes you feel your mistakes because you're like, oh my gosh, like I went over here and it triggered an enemy and they came over and they shot my guy, and it really makes you make tough decisions. Okay, if I'm going to lose somebody, who am I going to lose?
Hey, who am I sitting out as fodder? That's the question.
Yeah.
You walk into a room, you're like, I need the weakest people I do not care about.
Yeah. So it's a really good game, and the soldiers are like Pokemon. Like, you bring them out and you level them up. So sometimes you'll like carry a rookie with you. And I will say, like, in movies, you're like, oh, we got a rookie with us.
It kind of
makes me feel that, because what happens is if your soldiers get hurt, it's kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5 or Peace Walker. They're injured and they're in the infirmary, and then they can't go on your next mission. And then you move forward time, you don't know when your next mission is going to be. So if people get hurt, you can find yourself in a situation where
leave no one.
I got to roll out here with 3 rookies or like 2 squads. So you're kind of working on backups. But so sometimes you're like, God, I got to go out here with these freaking rookies, and they're missing all their shots and they can't. They're panicking.
You're like, calm down.
Yeah, they panic and then they start shooting all over the place, and it's. XCOM is amazing.
Different breed. I love
I'm very close to the end of the first one. It has taken over my life.
You gonna play the second one?
I will, yeah.
Nice.
I will.
Okay.
I kind of want to replay this one with the expansion first, but yeah, it's amazing.
I love those type of games. I mean, I've realized like KOTOR, all that stuff, like those are the games that will forever be my interest. Like, you'll get me every time.
Yeah.
That's what Skyrim did, but Skyrim wasn't as deep as like Baldur's Gate or XCOM or Mass Effect. But those games are great.
It's like the king of tactical RPGs to me now. So
absolutely, that's why I like playing like Age of Empires and stuff. Little people, I like controlling little people.
Like the tiny people games. I streamed on Hangouts. I was in a fan game mood. I did Tomb Raider fan game. Tomb Raider Dagger of Zion, and Twin Peaks Into the Night. The Tomb Raider one was a remake of the second Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. It's like a fan project, and it's like you play for like 20 minutes. And it's like it was really cool that a guy made this. And I was checking the progress. I was like, oh, he just uploaded like 4 months ago, finally, like a new thing. So it's kind of cool to see where they're at with the progress. Cool little game. You can check that out on Hangouts on the channel. And I also played Twin Peaks Into the Night, which was a fan-made Twin Peaks game.
Oh.
That looks like a PlayStation 1 game.
I gotta check this out.
And this was awesome.
Really?
They used audio from that the characters speak in the game. When like it would pop up in the dialogue box, it would say that from like the show. They just ripped the dialogue from the show and had like Cooper say the lines or whatever, and had PlayStation model Dale Cooper.
Triangle.
And I beat that. That was like a little cute little 30-minute thing, and it goes through like the first 3 episodes. Like, it just takes moments from the episodes. But did want to say one funny thing that happened when I was streaming was you go to the hospital. When they find I forgot her name. The other girl that was with Laura Palmer. You can kind of explore the hospital a little bit. You go in different rooms, and there's different NPCs you can talk to, and they'll just say little weird things. But at first when I did that, it would pop up like their little character art, and I was like, oh, was this the nurse that was at the hospital? Like, I couldn't really remember. These off characters. But then I went to this room and I clicked on it. Or no, in the hallway, I went up and clicked on this guy at a multicolored shirt, and Matthew McConaughey's face pops up. And I'm like, what? And then I'm looking at it more, and I was like, he was definitely not in Twin Peaks. I was like, did they just take his self from like a different movie of the 90s, like when the show was like on?
Yeah.
And then I go into another one, and this doctor's like, okay, time for your shot. And Cooper's like, I don't need a shot. The doctor was Jack Nicholson. And they had like him when he was in a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like his portrait on there. And I was like, this is so funny. Like, that was really cool. So check that on the channel. But very cool, like little experimental kind of thing. So I was in a fan game mood.
You said it's PC?
Yeah, and they're free. You can
Man, that's cool.
I'm telling you, fan-made games, sometimes they're better than some of the original.
They were neat little like cool things.
Yeah,
and whatever. So
absolutely.
those were really cool. And the only other stuff I played, I didn't have it on our kind of thing, but real quick, Gran Turismo 7. I'm back on that. I felt like getting back into that game. That is just a relaxing dad game. It is like it just has that jazz music going. I'm just doing the license test. It's just so it tries to teach you about cars.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, this car was built in this, and you're just doing these little challenges, and it is the most like chill game.
Nice.
They need to bring back Need for Speed.
Oh god,
You ever
that's
played those?
I'm hearing a rumor. I just read that they might be doing something special for Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Hey,
the
Need for Speed
2005
Most
one
Wanted
next year
was the
It
best.
was really great. The one on
I love
05.
Hot Pursuit too. That's
Those
the
were
one I
great,
love.
too.
Oh,
But I need to check out Gran Turismo. Does that ever go on sale?
Yeah, I think it's been on sale lately, but that was really fun. I've just been playing that. I did realize you can do license tests in that. And it takes a long. There's either you get a bronze for the time,
okay, I
a
see what
silver,
you're
or a
saying,
gold,
yeah.
and they like, hey, try to take this corner, and you have to take the corner. You can't like go over top of it. It has to be like you're driving professionally, and then you get the time. But I tried for an hour, half 2 hours on one of them to get gold, and I kept getting silver, and I finally was like, I just have silver, and I moved on, like because I hate to do that, but I was like, you have to call it at some point and like move on, have fun with the game.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
like, I'm
did.
never gonna do this.
I was like, this is actually really stupid. But no, that's really fun. And then Last of Us Part 2 Remastered I streamed last night on the channel. And there is a ton of new modes and stuff. And I was able to bring over my old save, and it like popped up a bunch of trophies.
Oh,
It,
nice.
like it popped up like 4 or 5 trophies I got from that that carried over. But looks good. I was laughing the whole time and talking about it on the stream when they were like comparison shots. It's like it's nothing, whatever.
yeah.
It
is weird they couldn't get 4K 60 on that if that was the last gen.
That's
game.
weird.
It's 4K 30 in quality mode or
1440.
2K 60.
They couldn't get 4K 60.
No,
That's
I thought that was weird.
that just sounds like poor optimization.
Yeah. But they have a roguelike mode, which I did for 2 seconds and didn't like. I actually did like the first run of it, and I was like, I don't like roguelikes. Like this isn't fun.
I want to check that.
But
out.
Roguelike?
It's a roguelike, yeah.
In Last of Us?
It has different maps, and you
Yeah.
have to like go through these maps, and
yeah,
What?
it's
Yeah.
a whole new mode.
Plays different characters.
It's pretty involved.
What?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I might actually pick this one up.
it's pretty cool.
'Cause I was not gonna play this
I'm not
game
into
again.
roguelikes,
I
but
was like,
I
I've
was
experienced it
impressed by
once.
how involved it is. You go back to the space.
$10 upgrade to get it if you have the original.
Oh no, I borrowed Kenny's original.
It's just still his original. It has like a map room, or like your main room where you can kind of like build stuff and get ready and prep. And then it has like a map. You see these maps like, do you want to do this one next? Do you want to do that map next? Whatever.
Wow.
You get to choose your path.
Wow.
But played that for a little bit. But the thing I spent the most time on, I was about to start the story and I backed out. I was like, wait, where can I free play the guitar? Because
Oh,
that was
yeah.
so fun.
Yeah.
And I know so much more guitar than I did back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So much more that I was like, oh, I want to play with this. And I played Mr. Jones by Counting Crows.
Yep.
Oh, that's
On
so
stream,
fun.
I sang it and I just played it.
Oh, that's cool.
You strum by
I forgot about
the
you
that.
strum by
touchpad.
the touchpad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there and like Mr.
The touchpad's really
Jones
cool
and
because you
me,
can
moving
you
the-
can pluck individual strings too on the touchpad.
Yes, that's what was cool. You
I
could,
don't think I remember this.
well,
You
this
don't
is a
remember
whole
it?
new mode. They added
Oh,
more
wow.
stuff to it.
Yeah.
So
wow.
it's more involved.
I remember
so,
you played a guitar, but that's really cool.
Yeah, they fleshed it out a little bit more. So very cool.
Sounds like you had a lot of fun with The Last of Us.
Well,
2.
here's my thing. I started it up, and I was like, yeah, I had problems the first time through, and I'm getting more and more in the story. And I'm remembering stuff. Like it's coming back to me. And I did talk about like how I'm excited for the show to cover this stuff. But like this game is hard
Yeah.
because ignore everything that I poo-poo on it, because I poo-pooed famously on this game. But I forgot all of that when I was playing it, and I still just had a feeling in my gut. It's like I don't want to spend 30 hours in this hatred-fueled like cycle thing. This sucks.
I just want to watch it. I'll watch it on TV when it comes out again.
That's what I'm saying. That I think they can do whatever, but like for me sitting there, like when I want to play a game, like I want like that different, I feel like this game, even Last of Us 1 had moments where you're laughing and you're having fun, and this I don't remember a lot of. Like there is some jokes in the beginning, but like once the moment happens in 2, there's a famous moment, of course, a debated moment. I feel like it's just like very dark. It's a very dark game.
The flashbacks don't. I feel like the flashbacks really.
I guess the
counteract
flashbacks,
that.
but I'm sad when I watch the freaking flashbacks. So
Well, I mean, they never said they were
but
the
let me
happy
ask you a
world.
I put it down
question.
last night, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play this again
Let me ask
because
you a
like I'm just
question.
bummed playing it.
Let me ask you a question.
It's a
I was
bummer.
always bummed playing the first one. I don't see them as any
The world
different
sucks.
that way. It's a terrible, awful world and situation. If a game like affects you that viscerally, isn't it effective?
It's effective, but I don't like playing
Brother,
it.
you watched the Joker.
Isn't the
Like,
game fun to play though?
It's an experience.
I
Like,
think
it's
that the
amazing
gameplay is
combat.
fun, but I was sitting there and I was like, I don't think I have it in me to get to the end of this game again.
You just want a happy ending.
No, not even that. I mean, if you like the
If
stuff
you
I
had
like,
a happy ending, let-
Evangelion and the stuff
if
I like,
Joel
is very
came out of the
depressive.
river
Very-
with his hand up, and he's like, "I'm still here," you would give them 2 more points. You would. That's what you would have done.
I would go, all right.
Yeah.
Well, in
I will
fairness, none of this is ever, in talking to you, well, maybe a little bit, you tend to not ever say it's about any specific character being in it or not being in
Correct.
it enough. Well, I don't know. I don't want to rehash our whole
The first
thing.
time through,
I'm interested.
the first time through, I had problems with the stuff with Joel, but I wasn't against the
No, all the new
spoiler
characters
alerts,
kinda
but
suck.
stuff that happened to Joel. I wasn't ever against that, but now that I'm playing, I'm like, I know what's about to happen, and there's the moment with him and Ellie, and I was just like, this is just continuously sad.
But
I don't like the new characters.
Well, hold on. Okay,
it's
that's
like
fair.
I got transferred to a new school. I don't like
But-
any of the new
but
people,
Zach-
and I hated what happened at the thing. And I'm like, I am like bummed.
I feel like our 5-hour review boiled down to this point, though. It is sad, but it has to be sad because the ending of the first game is brutally sad
Mhm.
because he makes a decision against her will and lies to her face. It is
But-
sad. No, it is sad because of the decisions made in the first one.
But Joel, his whole arc, and this is a whole debated thing, but like he hated humanity, and then at the very end, he chose to give up on humanity.
Yes.
When he was like, no, I'll get this girl here and get whatever. But then when he found out the cost, he was like, no, I'm actually gonna save it for this like child, which
But-
he could have never imagined.
But there's
at the
still.
beginning.
Here's
No,
the thing
that's
about
fine.
Joel.
He
He
still,
still had paid for what he did.
he has to pay. He has to pay for what he did. He lied to her.
But
He lied to her.
I liked.
It's not about the second game's not about him.
It's not about- yes,
about
yes,
Ellie.
thank you.
I
It's not about
liked
him.
the ambiguity of the ending of the
It's
first
not
one.
ambiguous. He lied to her face.
Of like, does she know?
You're
does
the only
does she
person
not
on Earth
know?
that saw that as ambiguous. It's not ambiguous. She can tell, and she
Bro,
and
during
she
the end
really
of the game,
confirms
she
it at the
said,
end.
"Tell me right now
Yeah.
that what you said was
And,
true."
and what does she say? She says, "Okay," which I love because
she knows.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But I liked that it was said in a way of like, okay, I know, or okay, I'm gonna trust you.
She's a kid. She just accepted the fact that
That's why I like
the
that.
one person she trusts.
So
most
I come
is
in the
probably
second
lying to her.
one. Boom! Here comes Joel. Here's all these characters you don't like, and we don't have Joel anymore.
Why
and
is
now,
anytime we talk about this game, this
and
is
now
what
she's-
happens. It happens every
and
time.
now, I'm just sad. That's
I
the thing.
get it. You're
I
allowed
just,
to be sad.
I
I'm not trying to
literally played
gaslight you.
and I went.
I'm not trying.
"Oh."
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just telling
I'm just
you.
bummed. I'm just in a really.
I watched Joker on a Sunday, and I left that movie.
that
depressed.
destroyed me too.
It destroyed me.
This
I will
destroyed me
never
more.
watch
This
Joker
destroys me
again.
more.
But I will tell you what's good about Joker, and the same thing about Last of Us 2. I'm never going to play the game
You
again.
know what this is like? If some guy came in here with a gun and shot both of you guys, and two people, just randos, sat down in swimming trunks and was like, "What's up? All right, let's continue the podcast."
That's such an out of.
And I would
so-
go,
no,
and
you're
I would
so
look.
wrong.
I would look at them.
I don't
I would
know.
look
So
and say, "I
wrong.
hate this."
I don't know how
say,
to explain this.
I say,
you wouldn't continue.
I've lost my buddy.
You'd be dead.
You're so
Yeah, I'm not
fact-
going to continue.
You're so wrong.
I
because
agree.
The Last of Us 2,
I-
all of the main characters are main characters in that game, Joel included. There are so many moments that pay off and do additional things with his story, even past the beginning.
But now I've actually changed camps to the "I hate that he died" thing. I think.
Oh,
playing
I
this time.
hate it. Yeah.
I'm actually on that camp now.
But you know
I
the
wasn't
thing?
before.
Here's the thing. They
what
can.
do you mean? You just wish he would have just been in
You know
it?
what it
Oh,
is?
gosh.
Here's the big thing.
Oh gosh.
Joel And Ellie's relationship in the first one was so engaging and interesting, and then we get to the second one, and that never hits.
You're so wrong.
What characters?
So many
the
parts.
ending-
behind it.
What characters hit the same thing?
No, Joel and Ellie's relationship in the second one. There are literally multiple amazing scenes
Pockets
of them
of it.
together.
with them, but he's gone. It's just flashbacks. It's stuff that's not
Bro,
in,
you hold on
in the
hold
current
on.
world.
He's watching not the Last of Us. He's watching The Walking Dead. You got to understand, he has a different viewpoint of characters right now.
No, I don't.
No,
I
yes, you
finished
do,
it.
because you've been watching The Walking Dead, and now I know why this is coming from this.
Just you
No,
know
it's
what?
not.
Go watch The Walking Dead, Durrell and Earl, and you're
Durrell and
okay?
Earl.
We're moving on.
At least Durrell and
We're
Earl.
moving on. This guy has no say in what is a good story after consuming 17 seasons of Walking Dead. His brain is fucking fried. He's done. So we got to move on.
We gotta put the explicit
We're
sign
so
now on
far,
this.
Look, we tried to have show notes. Who the hell brought up The Last of Us?
I did.
Okay, I played Starfield. It's fine. And I played Neon White, and I beat all of his scores in the first chapter.
Okay,
Did you play anything
yes,
else?
I played some games.
Oh my god.
I played the finals. It's not that good. Doesn't
Yeah,
have
I played it too. It's fine.
It's kind of like
it's kind of like being in a big empty shopping mall.
yeah. Honestly, it's a good way to
But
put
you
it.
just get shot less.
Yeah.
Like, there's just
it's not great.
it's not great.
I would not recommend
It's
it.
not great.
I played Escape from Tarkov. It's a roguelike PvPer. I don't know why I played it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Got into it, and some guy
This
said,
podcast just took a nose.
"Hey, I got into it." And this guy said, "Come into this building and help me with this."
You know what?
And I trusted him. And he shot me as soon as I
F
walked
Gran
in the building.
Turismo 7.
Like-
by the way,
I was-
what F cars to invent something new.
I cannot. Anytime
So
we
let me
talk-
ask you a
Get me on a
question.
hoverboard.
Hold on,
Get me on a
hold on.
hoverboard.
Oh my god!
Let me ask you a question. Since I got to remind you what good shows are, because your brain is fried. You've seen Lost, right, Jacob?
Yes, I've seen Lost.
Okay. Lost spoilers for
Wait.
the next however long we talk. Because I'm watching Lost right now.
I want to talk about Madden.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. Let me
Madden
just ask this
sucks.
question.
Madden sucks
Let me
now.
ask this question. Just if you've never seen Lost, do not listen to what I'm gonna say. But I have to ask Zach a question.
Okay.
Okay. You
Go ahead.
finished Lost.
I'm an open book.
Yes, I finished
Okay.
Lost.
I'm an open book.
When Charlie dies in Lost,
Yeah.
I hated that it happened, but I accepted it. It needed to happen. I didn't mope and whine the whole rest of Lost.
We had
with
18 other
Charlie.
cool characters left. When we lost Joel, we got, hey, I'm Rando number 1, I'm
Then
Rando
I'm
number
gonna
2.
say
And,
then-
and I
no,
don't care
no,
about
then-
those characters.
Then I'm gonna
I
say,
don't care about
then
any
here's
of
what
them.
I'm going to say. You never liked Ellie. You liked the idea of Ellie. You never liked Ellie as a character.
No,
you only
I s-
liked the idea of her. No, because it's Ellie's story, and if you don't vibe with where that game goes,
No,
it's all about
here's
her.
the other thing.
I don't understand
I
it.
don't even say it's bad writing per se or like storytelling.
Joel's not even on the
I
cover.
just don't. If I'm the one I do like is Ellie still throughout Last of Us 2, but her story is just sad. She just wants to keep killing,
Her
Abby.
dad figure
She's trying to get
died. She's
revenge because
revenge.
It's a revenge story, but it is so incredibly dark throughout that there's no brevity. It's just continuously her hating her. And I get that. I am on the same page. I get the story. I get what they were going for. It's just a bummer to go 35 hours in that. Does
Man,
that make sense?
sometimes revenge is a bummer.
Could you imagine if
I don't know. A lot of people have
Okay.
revenge.
Hey, some
This
people,
would- this would
some
be
people
similar-
live their whole life hating
this
somebody,
and that's
so this is a
cool,
little
but I
taste of
don't
that.
want to watch that for 35 hours. I'd watch it for 4.
Then why are you playing it
I-
again?
I'm not.
20
I
to
would-
25-hour game.
I would watch it
and
for
over
5.
half of the game, you don't play as Ellie.
Could you imagine? And I don't like Abby. I don't care
That's-
about.
See,
I
that's
don't
a
care
whole
about
other-
yeah,
that.
I like Abby.
That's a whole
Actually,
other-
I like Abby more than
Abby.
Ellie.
There was
I
parts.
actually like Abby better.
Yeah, I
than Ellie.
actually like
all
Abby better than
holistically,
Ellie.
I love Abby.
I will say she gets more brevity of time of brevity than Ellie does. So maybe there's
Nah,
some of that.
Abby- what was Abby's
like
best friend?
happiness moments?
Yeah,
No,
like,
who
like
was
some
Abby's
times
best
to breathe.
friend?
Yeah.
The bald-headed kid.
Lev.
I miss Lev.
All the memorable characters. Lev.
don't
So
remember
like
his name.
that's what like imagine
got-
Lost. Your question would be the same as if in Lost, Jack and Charlie were the only interesting characters, and Charlie dies, and you're just left with Jack and a bunch of people you don't like. That's how I am
life.
with. That's how I'm with Last of Us.
Brother, my parents died. I'm left with no parents. That's life. Like, get used to it.
Yeah, I'm
But-
gonna say you just gotta experience some loss, man.
But you have
I'm
us.
sorry.
You have other people.
You're right. Where's
But-
my
Yeah, but
mom?
you're Charlie
But-
compared to his mom
but-
is Jack.
But Last of Us.
We're jacked. This is jacked. We're jacked. Like we have officially hit. We're unhinged.
Lost is good. I'm
Lost
having a
is
great time with
good.
it.
Last of Us 2, I respect, but I'm just at a point where I'm just
You
sad.
should play it.
We can't.
You
talk,
should
we
play
can't
it.
talk about this game anymore.
I don't want to talk about this.
It has to stop.
When this show comes out, it's going to break us apart.
I'm excited for the show.
I am too, but like it's because my wife hasn't seen it yet. That's the only reason why I'm like
Yeah.
really excited. But anyways,
Madden sucks.
No, actually,
football sucks.
I'm gonna ask you. Travis joined our franchise.
I did.
And I want your impression. How unhinged is it?
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. I'm in a group chat with 20 different people.
Bonkers.
We got to play a game every
Of
2
Madden,
days. A
the
game
new
of
Madden.
of Madden, and it's been fun.
I heard you had a game that was like really fun.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple, but one against our buddy Kenny. It went
Yeah.
down to the wire. It was like the lead changed 5 times.
Yep, I heard
And
about
it was,
that.
I scored, he scored, I scored. I won in the end, but yeah, I'm loving it. This is the most fun I've had with Madden, and the game is fine, but it's because of playing with people
Correct.
and having a league. And I'm hoping we can get up to the full 32 teams.
We actually have 3 people who are wanting to join.
Yeah, I know another one too. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, this game. Me and him are about to enter the playoffs. Playoffs are locked for
Yeah,
us.
that's locked.
I'm excited.
Which team are you again?
I'm the Seahawks.
You're the Seahawks. I'm the
Are
Browns.
the Chiefs and Taylor Swift in this?
The Chiefs are
no.
terrible
The
in
Chiefs
this
actually,
league.
yeah, they're
Oh,
like
wow.
2 and like 15.
Because they don't have Taylor.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
terrible in this one. I'm excited. I'm excited for the playoffs. Playoffs get really crazy. And then we vote for the Pro Bowl. You think you're gonna make the Pro Bowl?
I didn't even know that we vote.
So
for the Pro Bowl.
what we do is we vote for the top 6 people,
Okay.
and then those 6 people go in the Pro Bowl, and they get to pick one player in their team to upgrade to an X Factor.
I feel like I would be right on the borderline because here's the thing.
I didn't make it last year.
Here's the thing with this league is I beat Brandon Hernandez, Kenny.
You beat Brady.
I beat Brady. I
Yep.
beat Dak when he was
You
still
beat
in
Dak.
the league.
Yep.
I beat some good. I beat everybody I played just about except for Brent.
Yeah,
Brent has
Brent-
beat me every time, and then Noah destroyed me.
Yeah, Noah's
But
on a whole new world.
That was my first user game against a good player, and
yeah,
he destroyed me.
Noah, dude, I'm stuck in a division
So-
with 3 of the sweatiest people I've ever played a game with,
Yeah,
and I'm not even that good at this dang game.
yeah.
It's unhinged.
It's good, but I will say there is a skill gap with this game where there comes a point where if you want to get any better, you have to grind YouTube videos and you have to basically every
You gotta
play
know defense.
adjust your defensive depths and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta know
to
defense.
get the AI to basically do what you want.
Because like
so.
it comes to a point where like you can't control 11 men, so you have to put all 11 men in spots that you know will work. Because at the end of the day, like you can stop the run, the pass. If you don't put those people in those zones where it belongs,
yeah,
you just get torched.
yeah.
So
it's been fun.
it
It's
is
been a
fun.
good time.
It is
I've
a
been
really good time.
enjoying it.
I'm
Been
excited for the
enjoying it a lot.
playoffs. I don't think you're the 3 seed, right?
I'm the 5.
You're,
I'm the
ooh,
5.
that's the worst kind of seed because you would need the 7 to win, right? Basically, you need the 7 seed to win for it to be anything fun.
It means I'm playing the lowest division winner, which may be a CPU.
It could be it could be Brady.
Yeah.
You can go up against Brady's quarterback. He's terrible.
We'll see, but I think that we'll have a full postseason review. When
We
get back
will.
next
It will
time.
be an
Nice.
interesting view into it. A couple of TV shows I want to drop on you guys real fast, if you don't mind, because we just
Yeah.
talked about Lost. Watching Love on the Spectrum season 2.
I've seen clips of that on TikTok a lot. There was one I really liked of the
Can I-
girl and some guy. I forgot their names, but
Abby and David.
and
They go to
she's-
Africa.
and she was like, yeah.
Yeah,
And I was
it's
like,
so cute.
yeah, it's so cute. Just
Hey,
on
David.
TikTok.
I love how David's like, I bought you plane tickets to Africa, and my wife says like, doesn't he work at Burger King? And like, I'm dying laughing. I'm like, yo, Netflix bought that, honey. Let's just live in this world for it.
Yeah.
There's a moment when they walk on and they're at the sunset and there's a glass of wine and a glass of milk because he loves milk.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm so glad you got it for us. And he's like, me too. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this
Well, I
is
like
so
when there was a
paid for.
conversation I was laughing at. It just was cute. I was laughing
It's
at it. And she
cute.
was like, it's so romantic. It's so romantic. This is
Oh,
so
I know you're gonna
romantic.
say, yeah. What does he say? Gosh, he compared her to cupcakes. I think that was the part that really had me dying. They introduced new characters in this show, and Love on the Spectrum is a honestly, I've walked away now saying this. Netflix has messed up for what they did for this because I'm all about like people finding love, but they have exploited these people
Yeah.
in the worst kind of ways. For example, there are people who are very nice and they're not quite on the spectrum, but they're really close, and they've set them up on blind dates. And unfortunately, I don't know why. And Maya works with people who have autism. She works with them a lot. But 8 out of 10 times, Netflix set up them a date with someone who has Down syndrome. like every time, and then they film the entire date,
Oh,
and it's
that's
like
weird.
super awkward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is stuff they're putting out about these people in their
Yeah.
lives,
Hmm.
and I'm like, this kind of messed up. I'm kind of like, who signed off on
Like they're
this?
kind of intentionally pairing people at different
Disabilities.
disabilities. Or
Yeah.
different. Okay.
And
Hmm.
I don't know if it's because like, I don't know.
Well,
I don't
maybe
know.
their point is it doesn't. I don't know. I would not want to be running that show. That just sounds like a lot of hot water in all directions.
I did.
to get
People
into.
were
I
talking
don't-
about a lot online about this
Hmm.
show called MILF Island, and I think it only ran for one season, and
I
people,
wonder why.
That's not real.
it was real.
Brother,
I
that
don't.
sounds like-
I don't
No,
know. I don't.
think it was.
That sounds like
that's a
some-
30 Rock bit.
No, this was a real thing.
On 30 Rock, there's a fake show that they reference all the time in the show called MILF Island.
Well, no, this was a recorded show. I saw like a lot.
I
Of
know
clips
it's.
from. Oh, they show clips of it.
make fake. They made fake clips on 30 Rock.
Was it legit like reality show looking clip? Because this
Yeah.
was like quality production.
Yeah, is this newer or back in like 2000?
Well, I was no, it went back in the 2000s.
Like-
So this was like a newer thing.
I'll show you. There's
Maybe it
MILF
wasn't called.
Island
Maybe
is
it
a-
wasn't called MILF Island. It was called something else then.
Okay, Love Island.
But it had. But,
Love
but,
Island is a show.
Wait, Love Island is a show.
Love
Love, on
Island
the
is-
But
Island.
what it was they brought all these kids.
That's MILF Island. It's a 30 Rock bit.
Are you sure? Because I
I'm
think
positive.
this is real.
Brother,
If you watch 30 Rock,
I'm gonna be honest
Alec
with you.
Baldwin's character runs a TV.
either
network.
you watch a 30 Rock bit, or you type something into Google you
Well-
shouldn't have watched.
Well, because people were talking about like, oh, the most unhinged reality show still has to be that
It's-
concept of the.
That's a 30 Rock bit, and they have fake clips in the show.
He's like determined to look this up.
No, this isn't it. There was an actual new thing. Yeah, because this is like kids, right? These were like 20-year-old.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't. They wasn't MILF
Yeah,
Island
and
then.
that show
They
is
wouldn't call it-
kids.
So there was a concept. I don't know if they only ran for a couple episodes or
Oh,
a
wow, I
season.
didn't hear about
But
that.
it was 20-year-olds, and I saw because people kept saying that was the most unhinged concept because they were talking about all these like love on the spectrums. Like, still, you can't get anything worse than this. And I watched some clips of it, and what it was they brought all these 20-year-olds, and I guess they didn't tell them the full like breadth of what it was, and then they showed like, oh, you're gonna date like these older women. I think they
Yep.
knew that much. But
Oh no.
but all the contestants' moms were there. So there was like a clip at
Mhm.
one point when it was like the son was like, oh, I hate this, like, because he liked one of the guys.
Yep.
And the mom looked over and was like, you better be nice. That's your stepdad. That's going to be your stepdad soon. But these people are all
Oh
the
my
same,
God.
same age.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy.
So I don't know. Sorry, it wasn't MILF Island. It was something MILF something.
Okay.
But you can watch clips on that, and it's great. Because you're like, oh, there's like 18,000 moments within
Don't Google
a
MILF
second.
Island.
of like
don't
stuff
Google
going
that.
on. I was like, yeah, that concept was the most twisted, I think.
That's crazy.
Because there was
Wow.
also a point, I think there was a challenge where it was like, feel the chest to see, and guess who
No,
it is. But it's like,
no.
you're going to touch your
What-
own son.
No.
What would you do if you were on
Well,
that
so-
show?
You know what I mean? Like,
I'd back out. I'm
Well-
out on that. If you got misled in any way, you'd see
Yeah.
episode 1. I'd be the one causing the biggest scene. I'd be on YouTube for the rest of my life, but I wouldn't be on the entire show.
yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
But what if then they said after the first week, one person on this island has a fake mom? It's not their real mom.
That's a
Then
twist.
it,
Yeah.
it would be fisticuffs. Bro.
Yeah.
It would be like, it'd be like. You
That's
know.
not even your mom. It is my mom.
Imagine
Yeah,
doing the
like-
interviews. She's not my mom.
She's still not my mom.
Yeah,
Maybe we should have a reality TV show.
Yeah.
I think we could.
That was the most
stir up some
twisted
good
one, though.
drama.
I'm sure we could.
Okay.
Jacob did have to leave. I told him about MILF Island, and he wanted to go see what all this.
He
All
said,
this stuff
yeah,
was going on
he
here.
said he had to clear his schedule and
Yeah.
get back home quickly.
Suspiciously, he was on the phone with some producers right after we talked about that. But another TV show that doesn't involve moms, The Curse.
No moms in the curse?
Nope. Well, there was, I guess. Nathan Fielder's new show, The Curse. I might have talked about it. Yeah, I think I might have talked about it, but it did wrap up. But this is Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder, and they are these real estate kind of moguls, and they try to make an HGTV show. And they are trying to take this town and kind of revitalize it with these eco-friendly homes, and it's just making fun of like people that are just that hyper eco-friendly, but they have the worst morals.
Yeah.
That's what this is kind of like poo-pooing on, and just like these characters are just such, you just love to see like the crap they get up to. It's like, oh my gosh, like what are their morals standing on, like on this stuff. So so it was 10 episodes. Yeah, 10 episodes, I believe. And the ending is one of the most memorable endings of television I've ever seen. Very interesting. It's slow at times. I think the way they film this, because it is more, this is a scripted show versus his other stuff, which is not scripted. It's more bringing in real people. But I did appreciate, for the most part, like the new style and stuff. But there were some times I pull up my phone. Like it was kind of dragging at times. That was the only, I think, negative about the show. Other than that, the cringeworthy moments, so many moments where you just can't even look at the freaking screen. And then the ending, I bet Travis every dollar in my bank account, he would never guess how this movie ends or how this TV show ends. So
you got me intrigued. We watched the first episode or
yeah,
two.
we
I think,
watched the first one.
Out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back and watch it and
see
what this is all about. I love Nathan Fielder.
Yeah.
And it is kind of interesting with it being more scripted. I like him doing new stuff, and doing a variety of things. But it is kind of hard because you're like, on the one hand, like he is kind of doing that funny shtick, but it's also moving a story forward and stuff.
And he's a good actor.
He is.
You get to see more of that in this because you already have to act to play these characters in real life. That he's kind of like doing stuff. But
I was impressed, but I could even from the first episode, I got a sense that it did seem a little drawn out in terms of they would really kind of linger in a zone or in an area.
And there is
shots of people walking to their cars, walking back from their cars, just walking,
Yeah. And you can have some of that, but when it's like back to back to back to back, it's like, what was the purpose? You know what I mean? To where it just seemed like almost lazy editing in some ways.
Do you think it would have been better suited to be trimmed up a little bit?
A tad bit. You don't even have to you can leave in those long one shots, but it's like, sometimes they're just walking to their car or it's just like this really long stuff. It's like, just cut it. Like, those moments are for when there's like mood and there's stuff. I feel strongly. I'm making a movie right now. Let some stuff breathe, but like cut. You know what I mean? Like there's a rhythm to it, and I don't feel like I don't know what they were thinking on some things. Yeah. This not to bring Last of Us 2 up, but you might like this show because it is a bummer at times where I was like, ugh, like I kind of was like, this is like a lot that they were doing in the show at points. Kind of like, I don't want to spoil, it would definitely spoil it if I explained it, but like there was parts where it was like, this is a hard watch, like right now, like, I don't know, but.
Well, it seemed like the characters, there were some weird seeds planted between some of the characters that I'm like, I just feel like there's some
ooky feelings at certain parts. I'm like, oh,
there's going to be some bad stuff happening here. Well, yeah, I do love characters going through awful things. So
that's what you're into.
Yeah, I'm not a masochist. I just like seeing the characters go through.
No, you are a masochist.
I'm playing XCOM and just
you're playing all these Souls likes.
Yeah, all these Souls likes and all this stuff. Well, Jacob watched Malcolm in the Middle. We don't have to talk about that.
Now he's Malcolm out of the middle.
Hey, all right. Movies.
Are you going to talk about Lost?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Lost. So we're watching Lost.
Charlie.
My wife wanted to rewatch Lost, and I've not watched this since high school.
Yeah. Can I can talk about a famous moment with your wife watching Lost?
Oh yeah, sure.
So I back in the day, I got Jessica, his wife, and other people in our friend group into Lost. I was like, you got to check out the show, and I just wouldn't shut up about it. And Jessica was watching it, and I was like, did you watch this episode? I was excited for her to get to certain moments and show, like, what did you think, whatever. And she was like, oh, yeah, I watched it on my lunch break, or I watched whatever. And I'm like, how'd you do that? Did you go home? Like, oh, I watched it on my phone. And there's a famous David Lynch clip. You can look it up on YouTube, the director, David Lynch, where he goes, what, if you watch a movie on your telephone, it's such a sadness, and you've not experienced the film. So that's why I would say it's like you watched it on your effing telephone. Such a sadness. But so she would watch those episodes, and I remember getting really mad at her.
Well, and that's like what 2012, like nothing
2011
was looking
and stuff.
good on your phone in 2012.
Yeah, but I was like, you need it you need a TV, you need
the
whatever.
Parking lot of wherever.
Yeah,
yeah. But
but this time she's watching all the episodes on TV.
I wasn't, in 4K. I wasn't against rewatching it at all. It's been years. It is a longer show for what I tend to watch because this is back in the day of 24, 25
Yeah.
episode seasons, and so anytime there's something like that,
There's no
I'm
10
like,
episode seasons.
I'm like, all right, let's do this. But I will say we've watched 12 or 13 episodes. We're kind of in the middle of that arc where they discover, there's people around and there's things happening.
Yeah.
And Claire has been vacated the premises, I
Yeah.
guess, as it were. But so there's people kind of going missing and stuff on this island, and it's really good. I still think I've always said that pilot, those first couple
Yeah.
episodes. I'm halfway through the season. There's been no fat. I mean,
Yeah.
everything has been to a T.
Yeah.
Great so far. And so
I can actually point out like some filler episodes later on.
yeah, I think there are later. Yeah.
Jack gets a tattoo at some
See,
point.
so-
they were kind of spinning their wheels for a couple of, like,
so I agree. I
and
think
even
we-
those aren't bad, but it's like, why do we need those?
I think what happens is in season 1, they do the show and they're moving. They've got a really nice pacing to the mysteries and the hatch and all this stuff. They haven't shown the hatch yet, but I got the idea that they're
Yeah.
starting to find it. But what is really good is they do these flashbacks. And you're getting a little bit. So we did the first round of most of the characters' flashbacks. Now we're getting to the second round. We're getting
Yeah.
the second round of Jack, the second round of Kate. So they're digging a little more into their stories.
Yeah.
We didn't ever get the Hurley one yet, which I was surprised by. I thought I would have gotten his backstory by now, but
Well, his is pretty big.
his is a big reveal.
Yeah.
And
And I'm glad they waited on that.
Boone and Shannon, some of them, yeah, they're not really getting their backstory yet. What I think happens is by the time you get to the end of season 1, you've dipped into everybody's story
You run out of flashbacks.
2 or 3 times. So then in season 2, the curveball is they're exploring, let's just say, other characters.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole other section of the plane.
Yeah.
So they're able to kind of like get by. But I think by season 3 is when you got to throw the leftovers out.
Yeah.
It's been in the fridge too long.
Yeah.
And they're going back to some of these characters, some of them the 6th and the 7th time. And there is one, it's like probably Jack's 5th or 6th flashback
Yeah.
episode. And he is walking around Japan getting tattoos. And yeah, and I think they introduce Nikki and Paolo.
Now
They
I
start
will.
introducing new
I will
people.
defend that episode because it's a mini Twilight Zone episode,
I get it.
and
yeah.
it's cool because you see our characters in the background. I really like those.
It
episodes.
is funny, and it does have a crazy ending.
Crazy ending,
Crazy
and I really
ending.
love those episodes. But yeah,
But yeah, so I'm loving Lost. I knew I loved Lost. This is re-cementing for me. I think Lost is my favorite
Yeah,
television show.
that's
I
my
love
favorite.
Breaking Bad, but Breaking Bad is not a super fun watch necessarily. Every single episode of Breaking Bad is tense and packed and,
Mhm.
and riveting, and you're paying attention. But it doesn't have the variety.
Mhm.
Lost has the variety. It's got mystery. It's got scary. It's got funny. It's got gruesome. It's got some gruesome stuff
Yeah.
in it. It's got it's got the whole deal.
it's got it's got an amazing mystery to it, and it
does.
keeps you hooked from beginning to end. And
It does. So I'm a huge Lost fan and
Yeah.
having a great time rewatching it. So
cool.
Yeah.
I went to the theater back to back, week to week experience. They showed the Gurren Lagann movies. So Gurren Lagann is an anime about a boy who Simone and Kamina, and they are in this little tiny dirt village, and they are underground, and some stuff happens. Well, you watched the first episode, didn't you?
yeah, I saw the first.
Okay, so
first few episodes.
oh, okay. I thought you only watched the
They
first
met
one.
some like deep people on a beach or up in the air.
Okay,
They met some
out of
people.
out on land and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're underground. People stay underground. There's these tremors up. All these towns are like, hey, you can't go above the surface. But it's 25 episode series. Came out in 2007, and it is my second favorite anime of all time. And I've never seen the movies. The movies have been out forever. I forget when those came out, but they kind of take those first two. They split the series in half and do the one on one movie and the next one. But they announced, hey, this is coming back in 4K in theaters, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be there day one. So what it was like, it was one dubbed showing and one subbed showing per like theater, and that was it. Like that was the only one.
Wow.
And our friend Devin, who's been on the podcast before and Hangouts, he had a ticket too. And I was like, man, that was awesome. This first one was really cool seeing theaters. And he texts back, he's like, oh my gosh, I had a ticket, forgot. It was tonight. And it's like, there's no other night. Like it was a one night only kind of
no.
thing for each area. in the nation. So went and saw that first part with me and my wife. My wife really loves Girl Lagan too. Watched that first part, and it was funny because we talked about awkward people in theaters and mostly it was teens that were kind of running stuff. We had these guys that every time Yoko was on screen, who is a girl with, they do fan service. She's bending over a lot, hooting and not hooting and hollering, but like and just laughing. And they were like, they had to be in their 20s, and it was like, oh my gosh! And my wife was just like, they weren't like extremely obnoxious, but they were like irritating at times. They didn't ruin the experience, but it was like, oh my gosh! Every now and then, it was like, dude, where did you guys come from? You stinky, stinky boys. Like it is. But here's the thing, like this wasn't a new like freaking James Bond film. It was anime film from 07 that they made all these movies for. It's like the Basement Dwellers came out for this one. Like people that have not been around people in a while came out.
That's lame.
But it made me laugh. Devin posted in our group chat and was like, "Yep, there was a guy that kept burping. There was a guy that just kept burping. There was a guy who was on the phone call for a little bit. He was like, luckily it wasn't during very important parts, but it was like, what is going on? Like, people have lost it. They've lost
sense
it
of how to act.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like simple 1 + 1 = 2. People cannot figure out at theaters and social etiquette anymore.
Wow.
All that to say, teared up in the theater, had a great time. This show is just so good because it's the antithesis of Last of Us 2. It really is. This show, as much as I even like Evangelion has all, it's about like this creator, and it's about, Shinji, the main character of Evangelion, of like dealing with, this pressure to do that. You know what I mean? The realistic, like, what if a little, 14-year-old had to do this?
Yeah.
This show is that same thing, but from a different angle of like, okay, how am I going to take on these things? These things are way bigger. Like, we just need to stop. Yeah. But he has this Kamina, this like friend of his, almost like they call them bros. They call each other bros. And it's like, no, you don't give up. Like, believe in the me that believes in you. And like all this super like hyper believe in yourself hope things. Yeah. To the point where they throw the worst stuff at these people ever imaginable. And it's like, you think all is lost, and it's like, no, I'm gonna like step it up, and we're gonna like do this.
That's cool.
And it's like you get goosebumps in the theater. I was getting goosebumps, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna actually press through and do all this stuff. So very cool experience seeing that in the theater. I was fortunate to see all that.
I think that's a cool thing when they take these shows, run 24 episodes, and do a season or do like basically a big movie out of it.
Yeah, and I will say they added new scenes. Like there was stuff, and I was even talking to Devin. I was like, I haven't looked it up, but I was like, that wasn't in the show. But I would recommend watch the show first. Yeah. With the movies, they cut out like character moments, or like they show like a little like sizzle reel at one point with a montage. And I'm like, oh, we're not going to see that. Oh, we're not going to see that too, because they have to get to these bigger chunks to make it to fit these 25 episodes in. I was like, oh, I get that.
Death and rebirth it a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, I get. Yeah, it's like watch the show first, and it's like if you need a fun recap, you get like a fun little 2-hour recaps for the movies, but. Watch the show rules, but
then
watch the movies.
I liked the little bit of that show I'd seen, and if I watch it, I'll watch the show.
Might be too
first.
hopeful for you.
I like hopeful. I like hopeful. Hopeful's fun. Don't mind a little bit, getting hyped up.
Yeah.
And I like that when a show does like. You feel like you've got a sense for what's possible, and then it goes another level.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
And this show does take that to. That's its fun thing. Is it goes to you're laughing at the end. Okay. Of the extreme funny, like I don't want to spoil it. Like the things they're doing are so funny, like impossible. But
that's really cool. I do have the goal this year of I just have a lot of animes that aren't even long, like 24 episode ones that. I never finished Cowboy Bebop. I never finished that. Yeah. And I want to go back and watch some of those. So that's cool. I watched a couple more Bond movies.
Bondathon continues.
Bondathon continues. And we're deep in the Roger Moore era.
Okay.
But we've gone from 70s to 80s now.
Oh, we're in the 80s. I've never even seen what an 80s James Bond looked like.
It's crazy.
I've seen like 60s and then the 90s and then 2000s. Crazy. I don't know what the 80s looks like.
So the one that I watched first here was called Moonraker.
Moonraker
is it's kind of like the curse of James Bond movies. If you're watching this movie, my wife and I we've been watching all of these, and she got sick about an hour in, so she goes to bed. The first hour and a half of this movie, I can't stress you enough, is a normal James Bond movie. They're in Egypt.
Yeah.
They're driving around. They're doing this. They're doing that. Jaws is chasing them. They're doing that.
Yeah.
He's with the girl. The end of Moonraker, this came out 2 years after Star Wars, and
Yeah.
it shows. They are in space,
Nice.
in a space station, and they have a laser, like lasers,
Yeah.
and they're fighting out in space, floating.
That
like,
was a producer note. You have to be
they-
Star Wars. You have to do the Star Wars
literally-
thing.
They left the stratosphere with
Yeah.
this movie, and in a way that is just like, at the end of it, you're just like, and I remember being a kid watching it, like, what are they doing in this movie? You have to bring it back. So
Yeah.
we have this joke now. Whenever James Bond goes too far, James Bond is in the books. He is a naval
James
commander.
Gone.
He's a naval commander.
Yeah.
Okay. So anytime like James Bond has this thing where there's a good movie, okay movie, good movie, okay movie. Then there's always a movie where they get too big for their britches and there's a bad one.
Mm.
And they go way too crazy. And then they always bring it back. And the next movie always starts the same way. There's a submarine or there's a boat or there's something and they capture the crew or they
Yeah.
capture the bomb or they capture. So the second movie that I watched was For Your Eyes Only, and it's the first one in the 80s. And it starts on a boat and they sink the boat and they steal the computer in the boat.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is in James Bond movies. They will go all over the place, but when they've lost their way, they go back to having ocean shenanigans
Yeah.
every time. I don't know why. It's just a goofy thing, but For Your Eyes Only is one of the best, I think, James Bond movies. It's really, really, really good. It's got a great plot. It's got a great cast. And really what's so fun about it.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, what's so fun about it is the last mission is basically like, it's almost like a Metal Gear Solid 5 mission
Yeah.
where there is a very small crew in like a little hut building type thing on top of like this mountain with like 90-degree like cliffs on all sides, and they have to climb like up these cliffs. And some of the shots and stuff that they get, and there's like people that fall off, and they show how long they fall, and I guess they're dummies, but they capture the scale really well of like how high up this thing is and knocking people off. And there is a scene where he's climbing and he's got a rope, so he's not free solo, and he's going and he's ping 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 and he's putting in the things as he goes. And basically, this crew guy, the bad guy, sees him and kicks him, and he falls, and he's hanging from this rope at like 20,000 feet in the air, it looks like. And then the guy gets his own rope and starts coming down and starts knocking out the pegs.
Yeah.
And he's just knocking out the pegs while James Bond's slowly climbing, and he's hitting them, and like he's down to one peg. It's just like a really good scene.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I don't know. I like when they have these really memorable scenes and stuff like that. If he's trying to climb up before the guy knocks him down, and it's shot with these big, huge lenses, so it looks like
Nice.
something out of like a Mission Impossible movie or something.
Very cool.
So, yep, we're having a great time. We are almost to the end of the Roger Moore movies.
Yeah.
I think we got 2 more, and then there's a couple Timothy Dalton movies, and then we'll be quickly on to Goldeneye.
Nice.
Pierce
That's
Brosnan.
the one I definitely know.
Have you seen Goldeneye?
I've never seen it, but of course the game and
I think you should watch through these. I would love your opinion.
That's a
of
lot.
these. Well, I mean, just start at the beginning.
but I did conquer Walking Dead.
I think you would breeze through these. You know, at least watch. I could give you the highlights, but I do think it'll be relevant because your favorite director, Christopher Nolan, the rumor is his next movie.
I heard that got
movies-
slashed. I heard that
What got
word.
slashed?
That's not happening.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Because that did sound cool.
I would love
I
to
think
see.
that got. I don't think that's happening.
I would
anymore.
love to see a Christopher
Don't quote me
Nolan
on that,
Bond
but-
trilogy.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh my gosh, like Dark Knight style.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Well, why I was excited was the rumor was he was going to set it in the 60s.
You want to know how I got these cars? I stole them.
Good Lord. He was going to set it in the 60s, which I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. Like
Maybe it still happened and he just lied to us.
that could be cool. I like it when he lies sometimes. It's kind
I like when Nolan lies.
He lied
Did you
when he
see
said
that?
Tenet was good.
Did you
and
see
that
Tenet
was-
is coming back in theaters? He's teaming back
Hey.
up with Warner Brothers. Are you gonna go see Tenet again?
I mean, it's visually a really cool movie.
I really respect for what that movie is, and it feels like a Kojima movie.
Yes.
It feels like something Kojima would make.
I
Because
get
even Death Stranding is like something I don't like to return to every
that. Yeah,
whatever versus the Metal Gear games.
that's very fair.
But
Yeah.
it's a Kojima movie.
It
Speaking of which, we're
definitely
getting an A24 Death Stranding.
We
film.
are. That'll be really cool. It definitely has some Kojima DNA. I think we've talked about Tenet a bunch of times on here. To me, it's just like it fell apart. Like I could not, like the whole ending sequence, I lost track of what they were trying to achieve.
They have a plot.
And it doesn't make sense.
I need to look up to what happened because I don't ever look for plot holes when I watch a film.
Yeah.
If I see it, you have failed. Because I suspend all disbelief when I watch a film.
Yeah.
I'm totally in the world.
It's like a dream you're dipping
Yes,
into.
I totally give passes left and right most of the time. But when I see a plot hole, it's like, okay, you failed, or I really don't understand this film.
Well,
because there's something that's like very glaring.
And it's I wouldn't even call it a plot hole. It's like a plot chasm because they make a point of telling you this can't happen.
Yes,
this cannot happen.
And maybe we missed it. Maybe we missed something out because like that was so glaring that
there's
they just...
that, and then there's also just at the end there's this weird shenanigan of like this guy is in this tunnel and he's waiting on this other guy and then he's going to do this thing and like the pacing is really weird. But I mean, what are we talking about?
But
the pacing at the end is weird and there's a weird thing at the end.
All that said, it's a very fun film, I think, to watch.
I agree.
Because you are just getting hit with the main draw of the movie is like, oh yeah, the playing with time and playing with the stuff. That's the fun of this movie. So I do want to give it another try with like maybe Wikipedia open. I don't know.
I would go see it in theater again. I got nothing else. There's nothing else in the theaters right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that is our first high quality production. That is who Jacob actually went and talked with, was our producer, Mr. Rogan.
Yeah, he's starting the Joe Rogan podcast network.
Yeah, the Jacob Rogan.
Jacob Rogan.
But hope you enjoyed. We are the DweeBros podcast. Check us out on DweeBros on Twitter, DweeBros on Twitch, where on Thursdays I pick a game, a fan game. You might get Twin Peaks. You might get Last of Us Part 2. Who knows what you're going to get on Hangouts.
And you have a TikTok, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We have a TikTok.
That's like the main thing.
That is a thing that Jacob is taking on. So if you see clips on there, thank Jacob. Just comment thank you, Jacob, when you see those on there. But he's clipping out some of the highlights of the podcast. And you might see some stuff on there from me. Who knows?
Any last words?
If you haven't seen it yet, I think I talked about this last podcast, but I'm going to mention it again. Check out the new Game Room tour that went out end of December. I don't even know if I got to talk about it.
I wanted to watch that.
It's 5 hours long. There was somebody else on YouTube that was like, hey, a 3.5 hour longest Game Room tour. And I said, no. And I made a 5 hour one. Somebody commented today. Shouts out to whoever, if you're watching. Commented and said, hey, like the collection, love the collection, blah, blah. And they said, I like the story that you had, like you explained your story. If this was 10 hours, I would have still watched it all.
Yeah.
Because I think I even talked about it. I was like, hey, this is 5 hours. I hope you're still in on this. But I did say, I was like, I watch them that are really, really long, like 3 hours.
I don't think length is a problem if it's interesting content.
Yeah, that's why
whatever.
I watched some guys like 3.5 hour like Nintendo basement. He had only Nintendo in his basement and had all this stuff that I've never seen. Like,
yeah,
it was just I watched the whole thing too. So thank you if you watched that. Appreciate that. And let us know what you think of the new multicam kind of thing. We're trying this out. We're gonna see how it goes.
We're gonna give it our best shot.
We're gonna give it. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
Why don't you hit me with your
best shot? Oh, we just got copyrighted, and now we owe taxes.
What's taxes on nothing?
15%.
Okay.
Good night.
Peace out.